Good morning. It's April 18th, Sunday, which is why I've entitled this one Sunday on a Walk with Ed. Putting it together, bit by bit. That's a musical theater reference, in case you didn't figure that out. Oh, what are you doing there? Really wanted to point off in a weird direction. There we go. So I think I'll go over to Lakeview today. Question is, how do I start? It's always the question. Actually, maybe I'll start a little differently. Instead of walking along the dike, I'll go back up the crescent here. It's 1 degree, so a bit cool, so I've started with hat and glove. Plural, not just one. I'm not Michael Jackson. As you can see, if you checked in earlier this week, the snow is pretty much gone. Still a few remnants of it, but back on track to proper spring. So I think we're going to walk on the bridge today to get over to Lakeview. The Albert Street Bridge, that is. I always walk on some bridge to get over there. Well, with the creek in the way. Oh, look, somebody's already saying hi. Who's saying hi? Rhea. Why are the trees wrapped? If I had a nickel for every time I messed that, I'd have 15 cents. They are wrapped to prevent flightless insects who then become, well, they're flightless moths is what they are. The females are flightless. They climb up the trees and lay their eggs in the leaves, and then the caterpillars are called cankerworms, and they eat the leaves, and then they drop out of the trees on bungee cords, long spider silk threads, and they are really annoying. And they make the trees look terrible, and they're not good for the trees, so that's what that's for. The bands trap them. They're usually made out of fiberglass insulation wrapped in plastic, duct taped to the tree, and then they usually have grease on the outside, which traps any insects that try to climb them. They also prevent, what's the other one? Tent caterpillars, which I guess are also some sort of moth caterpillar. My horizon looks particularly off today. I wonder if I can do anything about that. Just wait a second. I don't know that it made any difference. Maybe it's a little straighter. Yeah, so that's why they're wrapped. It's supposed to be done twice a year, in the spring and then again in the fall. You're supposed to take it off in between, but people being what they are, and I'm guilty of this, they tend to stay up year-round in some places, which is not great for the bark of the tree. But mine, I think, have been up now all year this year, and the two in front of our house, the two elms. Planning to walk across Albert Street Bridge and get into the Lakeview neighborhood and zigzag, which is something I'd like to do. Keep zigzagging south until I get wherever it makes sense to start zigzagging back again. Got my leather jacket fixed, which I'm wearing. Had a big hole in it. I always thought leather was tough, but these leather jackets, you catch them on something, they tear like paper. Weird. I don't know why cows aren't covered with shred marks. Here again is Harrington Mews, where Wally Knight lives in my Shards of Excalibur series. He lives down at the end there in a fictional house. Doesn't match anything that's there. There's the crosswalk that I often take when I'm going into the park, but today I'm going to walk down the bridge here. And the underpass is still closed up, I see. We are in the Albert Street Bridge with the Saskatchewan Legislative Building over there on the left. This is not a podcast weekend, which is nice, but I do have other things to do. You know, important stuff like defrost the refrigerator, vacuum up the cat fur, kind of stuff. Also, this Regina Lyric Musical Theater online production that I'm performing in, along with my wife and my daughter, called Flip the Script, which is gender-swapped Broadway songs. We have to shoot those by Wednesday, I think they want them. I suspect there may be a few that come in late, but we'll try to get ours done. And I've been provided with a green screen, specifically because of the one I'm doing, because I won't tell you what it is. It's supposed to be a surprise, but it's a quartet, and I'm singing all 4 parts. No ice on the creek today. So I got to shoot that, and my wife and I are doing a duet, and then my daughter's doing a solo. It's called Flip the Script, and if you go to reginalyric.com, if you're watching this, you can actually get tickets, and you don't have to be in Regina to watch this one, unlike most of what we do. Keep saying Regina. I happened to watch a little bit of the auto-generated subtitles on the Facebook live recording yesterday, and when it heard the word Regina, that is not the way it was rendered in the script. So it looked like I was talking about something else entirely. But I wasn't. I was talking about Regina. For some reason, I woke up early this morning out of a dream and had trouble falling back asleep, so I'm feeling a little underslept. The older I get, the less I'm able to sleep in, it seems like. I wake up and get up. Oh good, we caught the light. So we're going to go up one more block and then start zigzagging. Yes, I don't know if the people who decided for whatever reason that it's going to be pronounced Regina instead of Regina quite thought that through. But anyway. Back in Arkansas, where I went to university, Harding University in Searcy, Arkansas, our yearbook was named after a mountain. The mountain is P-E-T-I-T and then J-E-A-N. So obviously Petit Jean, right? Except it was generally pronounced Petty Jane. Petty Jane. I think 4J Saskatchewan is lucky it hasn't turned into Forget. But generally people say 4J. Walking down Albert Street here, south. Albert is the main drag. Cuts north-south right through the city all the way, without a bend in it. If you come in at the south end on Albert off of Highway 6, 11, 6. It's 6 and then it turns into 11, I think, down it. Before you get to Milestone. Anyway, it goes straight north. But you have to get off of it and take an angle to the west if you're heading to Saskatoon, because Saskatoon is not due north of us. All right, we will zig down 20th Avenue here. I didn't point out the legislature, but it's across the street there. Sunday on a walk with X. Oh well. I didn't have my reading glasses and I was poking at it with my finger. Give me a break. Might attract more viewers. I think it's going to be somebody walking along complaining about their ex. But I'm not. I don't have an ex. Only a current. Oh, and good morning, Kelly. Nice house over here. It's been redone not that long ago. Okay, I'm gonna keep zigging this way. Up on Angus now. I said there's an Angus Street, which this is, Angus Boulevard, which we walked on our way to the bridge, and Angus Crescent, which we live on. So Mr. Angus got himself well recognized. A lot of nice houses along here, Lakeview. Older houses. Quite a few of them look like they've recently been re-stuccoed, which our house could certainly use. It's like they all got a deal because there's so many of them with fresh stucco. We're going down on this corner, which has been a number of things over the years, and I don't know what it is now. It was a private house, and then it was I think it was like nuns ran it for like a halfway house kind of thing at one time. I don't remember all the details. It's in my book. As you can see, it's quite a lovely big old house. But it has a parking lot, which, single home dwellings usually don't. 1921 says on it. So I'm not sure what it has a sign. The Frederick. Huh. I don't know what it is now. Bed and breakfast? I don't know. Another big one over there. I think that's been redeveloped. It was made bigger than it originally was. Quite the grand balustrade there. Okay, we'll go another block this way. You can see this side of it there. Yeah, some they're a little newer, like the little brick bungalow there, next to the older style ones. This one has a bit of a Spanish flair to it, Moorish. Okay, this time we're going to, I don't think we've zigged down this way before. So, I think this is actually new territory on this walk. Not where we are right now, but as we go down this next street. Another big one on the corner there. I'm a sucker for that sort of half-timbered Elizabethan look, Tudor look. I don't know why. Too much fantasy in my youth. Oh, getting warm enough to take off my hat. Just the nice entrance there. Yeah, seeing more signs of budding all the time. Now that I took my hat off, I'm thinking maybe I should have left my hat on. Oh well. Of course, every step I go this way makes the return trip longer, but that's okay. It's Sunday morning. If this is a longer walk than usual, it's not the end of the world. Coffee waiting for me when I get back. Had a couple of comments on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook and you leave a comment, I'll see it. And the light's pretty good today. I may have to stop to read it, but at least I can tell it's there. I don't have the sun shining behind me. More nice houses. Another one with the half-timbered look there on the corner. Okay, time for another zig, or possibly a zag. Not sure which it is. There's the front of that one. Quite nice. Now there's an ultra-modern one over there, tucked in among the others, so those things crop up unexpectedly sometimes. Oh, this one has a turret. I do love a turret, especially with battlements. Again, too much fantasy. Too many fantasy novels. I not only read them, I wrote them. In high school, I wrote novels. 2 fantasy, 1 science fiction. First one was called The Golden Sword. I wrote it. Our teacher, English teacher, that would have been, I guess it was Mr. Weeb, probably, that did that, although I know Mrs. Muirhead did it too, was a writing book. Maybe it was a thing they just did in the province at the time. And you had to write a page a day in it. And so I have dated September 5th or 8th or whatever it is, started the school year 1973, my writing book, and it's dated at the top because a page a day. And at the end of the semester, the dates end, but the story keeps going because I just started writing and didn't stop and zoomed past December. I was probably past that well before we got to then. And that was The Golden Sword. And the next year, I don't think it was in a writing book, but the next year I wrote another one called Ship from the Unknown. And year after that, Slavers of Fuck. A very serious fantasy novel, you could tell, because it had point that down a bit more here. There you go. It had a map, and all the best fantasy novels have a map. Oh, there you can see some good buds starting to show up. Nice and green. And I was off and running as a writer. And I typed them up as soon as I learned to type. I was motivated. I quickly became the fastest typist in our class. And I don't know, I may even have written the last one maybe the last 2 right directly on the typewriter, because I don't have a manuscript for them. I have the handwritten version of The Golden Sword. It's on my desk, but I don't have a handwritten version of the other 2. So it's quite likely that I composed directly on the little typewriter we had, little Smith Corona portable. I like that little typewriter. It took me through college, and it was so simple mechanically, that if a key quit working, I was able to fix it. And I did a few times. Okay, Hill Avenue. We're going to keep going. Take another zig or zag. And then, I think just after I graduated from university, or I think it was after I graduated and not while I was still there, my parents bought me an electric typewriter. And that was my writing instrument for a long time, until in the 80s, I got a Commodore 64. And a disk drive and a monitor. It cost me a lot of money in 1980s dollars, but on the other hand, I was working. I didn't have a lot to spend money on, so it wasn't so bad. And there was a program called Paperclip, word processing program. That was my first word processor. And I wrote, I think probably I wrote The Dark Unicorn on there, and Soulworm. My first published novel, I think I wrote on the Commodore 64, at least the original version. It had no, it wasn't what you see is what you get. It was just text going across the screen. And when you got to the end of the line, the letters just jumped down to the next line. So no hyphenation or anything. But it didn't print that way. But that's what it looked like on the screen. and it was limited to 499 lines of text, if I remember right, which is about 10 pages so of a manuscript format. So all of my chapters written in paperclip were about 10 pages long, and that kind of set the rhythm for my chapter length almost ever since. Now they vary more, but for a long time I just felt after about 10 pages, good place for a chapter break, and I tended to compose in such a way as to make that work. Oh, so note, was that when you were at the review, says Leslie? Yes, when I got the paper clip in the Commodore 64. And I was still using it when I moved up here. Well, I went to a Commodore 128, and then I got my first PC 386 and worked my way up through 486 and Pentium and all of that. And then a few years ago, I went Mac, both for my desktop and my laptop. So now I'm 100% a Mac user, although I keep Windows around just in case. And of course I switched to Word at some point. And, well, actually there was, what was that called? It wasn't Word, it was called something else. It was like a Works, Microsoft Works. And it had a sort of a mini word processor in it. And I wrote a bunch of stuff on that for a while. There's the modern one over there. Maybe I have come down this piece of the road on a previous zigzag. I don't know. Oh, now I'm pointing at the sky again. So Soulworm, my first published novel, which I wrote while in Weyburn, and it's actually set in a version of Weyburn. Soulworm is on my agenda for rewriting and republishing through Shadowpaw Press, as is The Dark Unicorn. They were both published through a really bad publisher that, sold almost nothing, and long ago was in breach of contract by not sending me any royalty statements or anything. So I'm reclaiming those, and at some point they will come out, possibly even with new titles, Soulworm and The Dark Unicorn. Soulworm is set very much in the 80s, so I want to put a Stranger Things inspired cover on it that emphasizes the 80s aspect, and keep that in mind when I'm rewriting it. And when it came out in 1997, it was shortlisted for Saskatchewan Book Award for Best First Novel, which was cool. Didn't win, but it was shortlisted. And then my second novel, The Dark Unicorn, which came out the next year, was shortlisted for Best Children's Book. And then I guess it was Spirit Singer, 2 or 3 years after that, that won, the only time I've won a Saskatchewan Book Award, won the Regina Book Award for Best Book by a Regina author. And The Moonlit World, my latest novel from Daw Books, was just shortlisted this week for the Regina Book Award this year for Best Book by a Regina author, which is cool as well. I've been shortlisted. I've only won that 1 year, but I've been shortlisted a dozen times, I think, at this point. So I'm starting to feel that always the bridesmaid, never the bride thing, but it's an honor just to be nominated. And I'm always a bit surprised just because science fiction fantasy sometimes gets overlooked by literary types. So the year I won, I was particularly surprised. Didn't know there's anybody in that truck until it started up. Okay. Is it time to start zigging the other way? What street are we on? Yeah, this is Argyle. So, going to cross over here and then start zigzagging, going the other way on the other side of Argyle here. This is Argyle and Westgate. Actually, I know somebody that lives just down the street here on Westgate. There's also a park down there. If I walk down there, I'll end up at the park, which might be cool. So let's go down there. I think this will be a longer walk than some mornings, but I've done a couple of short ones this week, what with the weather. I think you are walking in the area south of where we used to live. Beautiful area, Leslie. Yes, it is lovely. It'll be lovelier when the trees bud out. Not butt out, but bud out. It'd be funny if the people I know happen to look out their window and see me go by, but I won't knock on their door, what with no household mingling right now. Anyway, I would be quite startled if I did on a Sunday morning. Perhaps not as startled as they'll be if they look out and see me go by. I've got lots of snow still in where the drifts are around here. Okay, now we'll zig down Kings Road here along the park. I don't think I'll walk through the park because you never know how. Oh, but I can take the path. There is a path. Okay, we'll go over and take that path, which I've never walked on. There's the park. Nice big one. It's a dirt path, but hopefully it's not muddy. Looks like it's well graveled. And it's zigging in the way I want to zig or zag, so. It's a really beautiful modern house. You can just see it in the distance there, but the way I'm going, I won't go by it this time. Let's see. There's a fork in the road. This is still going in the direction I want to zig and zag, so we will go this way. That's the playground there. Nobody playing on it, but there it is. Looking back, it's the park, the cell phone tower at the end there. Soccer field, baseball field. Nice little rise of land there too. I wonder if might be a creek in there. Or there must be, because there's a footbridge I've never seen before. See, I've never walked over here. Trying to keep up a good pace. I did make the right decision taking off my hat. Maybe unzipping my coat as we continue. I have no way to get home except to keep walking, so. All right, keep going down this way. This is an actual road now, not a path per se, but it's still going in the way I want to go. Now I think this is the, am I coming up on the par 3? I'm not sure. I'm tempted to take the footbridge just because I've never crossed it. It looks like the path goes the way I want to go on the other side, so let's do that. There we go. A bridge I have never before crossed. And a very small tributary. Quite artificial, I would say. It flowed down to the Wascana down there. And looking the other way. Really, these things are flood controlled, I think. Partially aesthetic. Okay, do I stay on the grass? Or do I go to the sidewalk? I'll stay on the grass since I've never walked in this park before. And it doesn't look wet. And it's nice and soft for walking on. That's nice. I'll either come out on Pasqua or on Regina Avenue at some point, and that's when I'll make the trek back home from there. I have to come this way again. Very quiet. Nobody's out this morning much. Fridays are my day for walking around Wascana Lake, and this week was really cool because, well, first of all, it was pretty because there was still snow on the ground, but and it was misty as well, misty and frosty. So there was a skin of ice, and there was nobody there. I walked all the way around the lake and only saw people twice off in the distance. Didn't pass anybody, and nobody passed me on the path, which is a bit unusual since it is a very popular walking area. Alrighty then, where the heck am I? I don't think I've gotten weirdly turned around. So unless I did, Pasqua should be to my left. Oh, this looks like a community garden up here. Didn't know that. That's got to be the Louvain over there. So I think I may have slightly shifted. Let's take a walk through the community garden. Not a lot of gardening going on, but lots of plots. Lots of plots. It's a plot. A plot to grow Regina. Still some snow here. Not enough to worry about, even though I'm only wearing my shoes. There's the community garden. Park we just came through back there. And I found the wind. You can probably hear it. the alley here. Well, I might as well walk down this path instead of walking down the alley. Oh, straight into the wind. It's refreshing. Regretting taking my hat off right about now. Am I going to get trapped up here? Surely there's some way to walk around along the creek. No, this is an adventure. I don't really know where I am, and I've never been here before. I know my direction, so I know I'm sort of trending back the way I want to go, but probably turned a little differently than I think because of the way the path's curved. Okay, here's the creek again. That should be Pasqua up there, I think. And probably the par 3 over to my right, behind those trees. So this may not be Pasqua, but it's far enough to head back anyway. That was nice. An area I haven't walked in before, down here by this branch of the creek. Traffic in the distance is always a landmark. That's the Louvain Expressway. If I get there, I've really gone too far this way. All right, we should be able to cross to the right now. Be trending back towards home. Haven't had any comments on YouTube yet. If you happen to be watching over there, say hi. And you know, anybody that's on Facebook still, or now. Okay, now we'll go this way. So there's the creek. Well, Pasqua's still quite a ways over there. That's okay, didn't need to go any further in there. It's not really a path through there, I don't think. So now we're going to start zigging back to the right. So start heading home. Well, as I start heading home, you probably already are home. Sounds cold out, only when the wind's blowing. It's about freezing by a degree or two. The wind in my face was a little chilly. Come winter, I'll still do this. Depending on how batteries and everything work on the phone and the gimbal, but assuming they're good to about 15 or 20 below. I used to walk around the lake at 20 below Celsius without any trouble. You just have to cover your face if there's wind. This is Queen. All right. So if I kept going that way, I would hit Pasqua over there, which was my original plan. Well, I think because that curves the wrong way, we'll head this way. Queen actually runs parallel to Pasqua. And if I followed Queen down directly behind me, it would run all the way down to the edge of the city. That'd be a long walk though. Could do it. Not doing it today. Someday I'll do a really long walk. My inspiration, as I mentioned before, for this, a fellow named, his name is Gabe, but his handle is Walking Commuter on YouTube. And he walks around Manhattan. And I thought, Regina's just as interesting as Manhattan. I have ways to go to catch up his viewership. He's got thousands. I've got 20. 56 subscribers, I think, or maybe it's up to 59 on YouTube. And whoever finds it on Facebook. But each one of these is probably being seen. 20 is probably shy, maybe 40. Watch at least part of this. What was I going to say about Gabe, Walking Commuter? What was I saying before that? It's gone out of my head. Lots of green space. Not green right now, but in Regina we do have lots of green space. Kinsman Park South over there. That bugs me. I had something very important to say about Walking Commuter, and now I've forgotten. Oh, there's some more community gardens over here. So I didn't know they existed. Might as well walk through them. They go back the way I want. Hi. Oh, vehicle's prohibited. I'm not a vehicle. Probably just take me to an alley, but still. Another nice garden area. Let's see. I guess we'll go this way. I should find myself a major road so I know exactly where I am. So this is going to be a longer walk. 44 minutes, and I'm more than 50 minutes from home, I'm quite sure. But it's all exciting new territory for me, and presumably for anyone watching, unless they live around here. And they'll think, why are you going in circles? Which I am, kind of. I'm actually going south again, I think. I just want to get out of here and keep going over to my left. I speak duck. Some goose. A little bit of pigeon. I'd like to speak whippoorwill, but that one's a little complicated. Meadowlark, I mean. Did I say whippoorwill? Meadowlark. Okay, well, here's the road again. Did I just go in a circle? I don't think so. Sure looks like the bridge I was on already once. Maybe I did. Yes, I went in a circle. That's funny. If this looks familiar, we were just here. Teach me to go into the gardens. I took myself down the garden path. Okay, this time I won't do that again. All right, so let's turn to the right again. And this time we will not go into the garden as we pass in. There's a bridge again. Who gets down there and puts graffiti underneath something like that? I mean, really. Hey, deja vu. Yeah, that's Pasco right there. So I know where I am. I knew where I was before. I just turned myself around going through the garden. This walk is now a good 10 to 15 minutes longer than it would have been if I hadn't gone in a circle through the gardens. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat a bit. It dries out when I'm talking and the wind's blowing in my face, I think is what's going on. I noticed my lips are a little... No, I'm not lost. I just did a loop through the gardens, and just following the best way out took me back to where I'd already been. But it's not an area I've ever walked in before, so I don't want to go down Queen this time. I'm going to keep going up this way towards Regina Avenue. I knew this would be a longer walk when I set out zigzagging, but when the roads curve on you, you can find yourself pointing in a slightly different direction than you think if you're not paying attention. But I know where I am. I know what I am. I am what I am. As I said yesterday, bonus marks to anybody that gets the Acacia Full reference there. People on the sidewalk. Yeah, I'll switch sides so I don't pass through them. School zone up here, or possibly a playground zone. Don't worry, I'm doing less than 30 kilometers an hour. I know exactly where I am. Been in this building for church, actually. My church I used to go to met in there once, although it's a Seventh-day Adventist building, but we're using their building because I don't remember why. There's a fire hall over there. Sunday, so there shouldn't be anybody in the Seventh-day Adventist building. And then over there is a Christian school. Which is why there's a school. School zone, and we're on Hill Avenue, so if I keep going, I'll go through the Hill Avenue shopping center, so maybe I'll do that. Not quite the zigzag that I was planning to do, but at least it's visually interesting. So the Hill Avenue shopping area up here is just a string of little shops. There's a kitchen store we go to a lot. Pizza place, little grocery store, hair salons, gas station, that sort of thing, all in the block. You can see it up ahead. Haven't had any comments from YouTube this morning. People watch the recording on there, but I seem to catch more people on Facebook Live. Even that's not a lot, but thank you for everyone who has watched some of this. If there's anybody still there, I'm still here. It should be about 15 minutes closer to home than I am, but we took the scenic route for sure. Sirens. I hear sirens and there's no one there. I'm not going to go down to my left. I lost the signal down there on my previous walk, so another reason to stay along here. Along the little shopping area here, and there's a church over there, St. Luke's Anglican, the fellowship hall just this side of it. We used to rehearse shows in a lot with Regina Lyric Light Opera then, now Regina Lyric Musical Theatre, and Thai Productions, because I used to do a lot of their shows, and Yvonne Ellis, who ran it, was a member there, so that's how we ended up in there. My wife and I did the Fantastics together. I've been in it twice. I played El Gallo, and the first time at least, and I think both times I did it, no, not the first time, but the second time we definitely rehearsed in there. The Fantastics has two fathers, but that one was cast with two mothers. So Margaret Ann was one, and AJ was the other. AJ. I'm not actually sure what last name she's using at the moment. That's why I didn't finish that. It's to be AJ Vermeulen. And the guy that played the boy was, what's his name? Well, that's sad. He went on to be music director for, I think, at the Shaw Festival. Gwillem. Wayne Gwillem. That's his name. Don't know if he's still there. I think it was the Shaw. I don't think it was Stratford. I think it's Shaw Festival. So we've had a few people come through Lyric that went on to pretty good professional careers. Stratford, Broadway. Everyone around here is. Paul Alexander Nolan is our local Broadway star from the little town of Rollo, which, if you watch Corner Gas, that's Rollo. And he's become a major Broadway star. Starred in several productions. Jesus Christ Superstar was the first one. He played Jesus, and then he was in, once he took over the role there, and Dr. Zhivago, which unfortunately didn't run very long. He played the Jimmy Buffett character in Margaritaville. And then on the non-musical side, he was in Slave Play, very controversial and award-winning production. But when I first knew him, he was in, I think the first one was Deflator Mouse that we did, and he was just a spear kid, literally a spear carrier, just part of the chorus. And then he was in Oliver at Regina Summer Stage, played the Artful Dodger, and I played Bumble. And then I worked with him in Saskatoon in Christmas 2007 when we did Beauty and the Beast, and he played the Beast, and I played various things. And he was already at Stratford then made the move to Broadway. Not too long after that, Jesus Christ Superstar got picked up, the Stratford production by, I keep wanting to say Desi Arnaz, but no, it's a Dedel. Name escapes me. Well, very famous anyway, director. So that one went from Stratford and then went off to California for tune-ups and then hit Broadway. Didn't run very long. Doesn't run really short, but didn't set any records by any means. But that was his break-in, so. I did not follow that path from lyric. Done a few professional productions, but very few. Hasn't been one for, 4 years now, since I did anything on an equity contract, except for direct. When I direct the shows that I've written for Lyric, and I've written 2 shows for Lyric, that's an equity contract because I am an equity member, so I have to get special permission from equity to direct, and they have to figure out paying me enough to keep equity happy and all that. So the big reward is getting a little asterisk by your name in the program. It says, appears courtesy Canadian actor with the permission of Canadian Actors Equity. I had auditioned for another production of Beauty and the Beast at Saskatoon just before the pandemic hit. And of course that season got cancelled and never happened. And then the artistic director left. And there's a bit of a big blow up at Persephone. And anyway, maybe I'll audition again someday. But at this point, I'm unlikely to be an overnight success. I'm getting to the point. I talked to somebody at Stratford, said they're always looking for older men to play sort of the small parts for older men, especially in Shakespeare and things like that. Hard to get a noted actor to do it. Well, I could audition, play all these bit parts at Stratford, be on stage for like 10 minutes a night. The rest of the time I could write. It'd be great. I suspect it's not as easy as they made it sound. Also, we have roots here now, so there's that nice modern house on the corner I've walked by before. So 20th was where we started zigzagging down at the other end over by Albert. It was a more adventurous zigzag than I thought it would be, but it was fun. Now just another 10-15 minutes home. So this one will be, it's already hit the 1 hour mark, so this will definitely be one of my longer ones actually. Probably would have been right around an hour if I hadn't gone in a circle through the community gardens back there. That white roof way up there ahead of us is Mosaic Stadium, home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. One of these days I'll walk up to there and walk around the fairgrounds and Evraz Place and all the exhibition spaces up there. That whole compound up there is where, or complex, not really a compound, it's where Fan Expo and Sask Expo used to be held. I sure missed those this last year. I like having my table and selling books. Got a lot of books that I don't really have any way to hand sell except at those things, and when they don't happen, the books are just sitting there, not earning me any money, not making back the money I spent on them. People think authors get free copies of their own books. It ain't so. You get a discount, but you get a few free copies depending on the contract. But those are mostly used for publicity or giveaways or whatever. Otherwise, you have to buy them like everybody else at a discount. And you sell them full price, so theoretically you make the money back. But in real terms, I have way more inventory than I'll ever make back by selling the books. Well, might as well go down by Riverside Park at Riverside Waterfall Park again, just because this little winding path is more interesting. Robin over there. No, it's a crow. Couldn't see in the sun. I thought it was a robin. I thought it was big for a robin. Last time I came down here, it was completely covered in snow again. And this time it won't be. It's like it's mostly melted off again. Nice little bench. I can imagine coming here and riding, actually. Sitting outside under the trees. I've gone to the Banff Centre a couple of times, which, this kind of reminds you of Banff. Don't think about the fact there's no mountains anywhere nearby. I did the self-directed residency once, and I was extremely productive while I was there. I was writing Magebane, my book published as The Arthur Chain, and still ice down there. Eventually that will melt. Oh, geese. Oh, of course, I might have guessed. All right, I'll step up here maybe. Oh, that's higher than it looks. I think I can do that while holding this. All right, I'll just be careful. I didn't think I'd run into ice on this walk, but it does linger in the shadows. Anyway, at the Banff Centre, I wrote 50,000 words in a week on Magebane, which was 150,000 words, and it really broke the back of that and let me finish it. I wish I could do it now because the Tangled Stars that I'm working on is moving slowly and is kind of stalled. I'm rereading it from the beginning to try to take a fresh rush at where I am and finish it. I got to pick up the pace enormously because I'm behind. I'll get it there. I'll get it done. I find I'm not very productive working at home, which surprises me. But that may sound odd because I always work at home. But no, I usually go to coffee shops and things. All right, on the path to home. Heading for the familiar old footbridge there. Still haven't had a single comment in over an hour of walking from YouTube. been a while since I had one from Facebook. I don't know if anybody's still there or not. But as I keep saying, it's nice for people to be along on the live stream, but more people will find the reprint. I was talking about books. Recording. And again, the real purpose is so that I exercise. And it gives me an incentive because I really enjoy doing this. Far more than just going out to exercise. Now, I might sometime take a walk without the camera if I need to think about book-related problems, because I sometimes do that walking. I could think about them out loud, but it wouldn't mean much without knowing what the book is I'm writing. Morning. Okay, over the bridge, over the river, and through the trees. To Eddie's house we go. I was an Eddie before I was an Ed. Anybody that knew me in Weyburn knew me as Eddie, up to a point. I even started, showing the creek again, I even started at the newspaper, Weyburn Review. My original byline was still Eddie. And then I switched to Edward because I wanted to sound older. I also grew a mustache. I got over that. I haven't had one for years. But I did grow one for a while. All right. Let's go down the stairs this time. Almost home. In 7 minutes. Oh, this one's definitely a few minutes longer. I thought it'd be at least an hour. And again, if I hadn't done an unnecessary circle through the community garden, it would have been less time. To figure if I went through the same garden from two different directions. I don't think so. It looked different. I don't think I was quite that turned around. Oh, Rhea, you're still here. Do I count my steps? No, I don't. I should. I could. Well, I think I could. The iPhone counts them, but carrying it on this gimbal, it might be smoothed out so much it wouldn't register them. I used to have a Fitbit, but I haven't worn it for years. I could count them manually, go back and watch the replay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I don't think I'm going to do that. But based on what I remember, probably done 7,000 or 8,000. Remember from walking around the lake, how many it was. Certainly gone farther than around the lake on this walk. Might even be 10,000 this morning. Just a couple more blocks to my traditional stopping spot. Maybe I'll go up here to the crescent. The older original houses down here, the one I lived on a couple of streets over, had been built right after the First World War during the post-war housing shortage. And I suspect a lot of these little ones date back to that time or shortly thereafter. Then a lot of them are getting torn down and replaced with newer ones. There are a few older, bigger ones down here too. They're not all the littler ones, like the little ones over there. And then you get the new ones like that one down at the end of the street. Somebody took advantage of that location and put in a monster. Quite nice. A lot of steps up to that front door though. Might regret that as you get older. Been in a couple of these because we know people where they run. Been on the home tour. Been in that white one right in front of us. We know the people that live there. At least I assume they still live there. Been in this one over here too, actually. Newer one. Talking to somebody when I rewrote the government house history book. I interviewed somebody in that house who was connected to Protocol in Saskatchewan. One of my many nonfiction titles. People ask me how many books I wrote. I always say more than 60 because I know that's true, but I haven't done an accurate count. And I'm not sure how to count the ones I'm just a contributing author to. It has my name on the cover, but I didn't write the whole thing. And those are computer books. Early computer books are like that. And the government house history book, there was an existing book which I rewrote. And then I added on a bunch to bring it up to date. Interviews with the more recent, or articles about the more recent governor generals, lieutenant governors, and stuff about the recent, relatively recent, not that recent now, renovations, all that sort of thing. So I didn't write the whole thing, but I still count it as one of my books. It has my name on the cover. And I did heavily rewrite what was there. Okay. Longer walk than anticipated, but here's my traditional stopping stop sign. 1 hour and 13 minutes. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. Whoever's still there or sees this on recording. And I expect to be back tomorrow. Probably not for quite this long a walk tomorrow, though. Bye for now.